Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Transport Briefing for Monday, May 12th. Currently, we still have prescribed fire ongoing across the Great Basin, across the northern half of the region, with a few new smaller wildfires over the eastern half of Utah and even over parts of Nevada. However, any fires have remained small and are not expected to be any issues going forward. Over the last 7 to 14 days, we've had precipitation mainly focused over the eastern half of the Great Basin. Over the last 7 days, we've had some good precipitation in southwest Utah and in parts of eastern Idaho, with minimal, if any, precipitation in western Idaho or into northwest Nevada. Over the last 2 weeks, this precipitation over the south has been well above normal for the time of year. Otherwise, we've seen either below normal or most areas near normal in spotty areas of Idaho. No new snowfall to report, and our snow depth continues to melt off gradually in the higher elevations. However, we continue to have storm systems move through the region, dropping temperatures and giving some areas precipitation, so the snowmelt is expected to continue to be gradual going forward, with no concerns with any flooding at the current time. No issues with drought concerns. This is our last 4 weeks of the evaporative demand drought index, so some drying across Utah, but nothing significant across the Great Basin. Our satellite loop from this morning shows a very strong area of low pressure moving into southwest Oregon. This will continue moving eastward across the Great Basin over the next couple of days, but is currently producing some strong winds across much of the western half of Nevada, with some particularly strong winds along portions of the Sierra Front. This storm system, as it moves eastward, will push those stronger winds east across the Great Basin, but also bring much cooler temperatures and increasing moisture, especially for the northern half of the region. So today, that area of low pressure moves into northern California and the Pacific Northwest. So again, plenty of strong winds out ahead of it. Any moisture will remain confined up north into Idaho. Otherwise, good dispersion region-wide with these stronger winds. And you can see from the transport winds, the strongest winds today will be along parts of the Sierra Front into western Nevada, and also later today from southern Nevada up into western and northern Utah. Many of these wind gusts will be in excess of 40 or 45 miles per hour. We've had some wind gusts over the last 12 hours along parts of the Sierra Front that have been above 60 or 70 miles per hour. So very strong winds as the system moves through, and even areas that won't see the strongest winds will still see gusts in the 30s across much of the region. Otherwise, mixing heights remain very high. Temperatures will drop as the system pushes in. We will see those most significant temperature drops today in western and northern Nevada up into western Idaho, where temperatures will drop 10 to 15 degrees below normal. Otherwise, warmer temperatures will still linger over southern areas of the Great Basin into eastern Utah until that storm system pushes eastward. Relative humidity also will be lowest across southern Nevada and central and eastern areas of the Great Basin, so we will have those stronger winds today with these drier conditions. Fuels aren't critical, but in areas where we have dried grasses or some dried shrubs, we could see an impact if we do get an ignition. Otherwise, further north, as the system moves in with those cooler temperatures, we will see relative humidity continuing to raise above 20 or 25%. As we move into tomorrow, this area of low pressure tracks into central areas of the Great Basin, so it will push those stronger winds further east into southern and eastern areas of Utah. Otherwise, cooler temperatures and still good dispersion region-wide. You can see it from the transport winds. Those strongest gusts, again, will be across southern and eastern Utah and the Arizona Strip, but not quite as strong as what we'll see today, but we'll still see gusts in the 30s and 40s in those areas. Otherwise, breezy winds will continue over the rest of the Great Basin, with most of those gusts in the 20s to around 30 miles per hour. Mixing heights will remain high. Temperatures continue to cool and spread eastward across the region. We'll see highs in the 50s and 60s over much of the Great Basin, with the exception of the far south and eastern areas. And relative humidity also will increase significantly across the region, with the exception of, again, the far south and east out ahead of that storm system. As we move into Wednesday, the storm system finally tracks eastward into the Rockies. We will see some breezy and cooler northwest flow, with some moisture moving into parts of Idaho and northern Nevada. So we'll keep at least some cloud covers and light showers along with those cooler temperatures. Otherwise, good dispersion region-wide. Some gusty northwest winds, but most of those gusts in the 20s to around maybe 30, just above 30 miles per hour in parts of southern Idaho or northeast Nevada. Mixing heights remain high with the exception of the far south. Temperatures will gradually warm as this storm system pushes further east, but still remain generally below normal across the region. Relative humidity will only be in the single digits to low teens in the far south, otherwise should be above 15 to 20%. 3-day amounts of precipitation you can see as the system moves through. The heaviest precipitation will only be in parts of central and eastern Idaho and Wyoming, possibly into the northern Sierra, but for the most part, the Great Basin will see generally lighter precipitation, and the only dry spots will be in the far south. As we move through later in the week, we'll still remain under general trophy conditions, so still some moisture lingering over the northern half of the region, but mostly in the form of cloud cover with just a few spotty showers Thursday and Friday. Then the next system moves in for the weekend, bringing us another round of gusty winds, also cooler temperatures, and more precipitation to the northern half of the region. This continues into Sunday as the system moves across central areas. So the precipitation for later this week after this initial storm system through midweek, again, mostly cloud cover or very spotty light showers Thursday and Friday. But as we get into the weekend, as that next system moves in, we will see precipitation increase in most areas of the Great Basin. The highest amounts are looking to be over eastern Nevada into Utah, and then parts of western Wyoming and parts of Idaho, with only light precipitation on the west side and in the far south. And then the 7-day total precipitation, so good amounts for parts of Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah, and even into parts of northeast Nevada. The 8 to 14-day outlook taking us into the mid to late portion of May from the 19th to the 25th shows warmer and drier conditions, but we'll continue to have persistent troughs really almost through this time period, so we could see a little bit more precipitation. This below normal signature seems a little bit conservative, so I would imagine we'll still see more of a progressive weather pattern at least through May 20th or 22nd, somewhere in that area. So again, still expect periods of cooler temperatures and some increase in humidity and precipitation. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Wednesday for the latest updates.